Sibling rivalry is everywhere since the dawn of humankind. Take a peek at the Bible for example. Cain killed his own brother Abel completely out of jealousy. In order to take control over Rome, Romulus also plotted against his brother Remo. Olivia de Havilland and her sister Joan Fontaine, both actresses from the Hollywood Golden Age, almost killed each other for an Oscar. But let's skip this matter. If you look at nature, it becomes clear that siblings are under a natural competition for parents' attention and food supply since they are born. Fighting then becomes almost a surviving instinct. When parents focus all the care, attention, or discipline to a single offspring is when things get out of control and maybe one of them is going to feel rejected and envious of the other. Well, that's when they start to fight each other for a better position in the household, and we, as an audience, get lots of great stories that resonate with our spirit. After all, many of us have experienced the same feeling throughout our lives, especially during our childhood. So it's not a surprise one of these stories ended up becoming a great box office hit at the silver screen, making tons of money and launching a new kind of genre known as hagsploitation. At the time, this story was seen as a B-horror film, later becoming what many consider one of the first psychological thrillers. But today, let's be honest, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is actually one of the greatest psychological dramas about sibling rivalry. This movie takes a deep dive into the darkest corners of a troublesome relationship between two sisters forced to live under the same house due to financial and health problems. Baby Jane, played by Bette Davis, and Blanche, portrayed by Joan Crawford. Yeah, that's what you heard. The producers cast not one, but two of Hollywood's greatest stars of all time to play these characters. This movie also tackles other themes I'm going to cover in this short essay without spoiling the movie, I promise. As you can see in the beginning, Baby Jane got all her parents' attention while her sister Blanche was cast aside. Having the spot all the time only made Baby Jane become a selfish and awful person. So when her fame faded away as she grew up and the attention switched to her sister Blanche, who now became the star of the moment, Baby Jane became completely irrational and envious. So when a car crash caused by Jane got Blanche in a wheelchair, both sisters were forced into a situation where they depended on each other's support for a lifetime. Jane, as you can see, is consumed by the guilt feeling for having caused the damage to her sister, plus the fact she didn't have any money of her own nor the fame and attention she used to as a kid. She becomes completely attached to her childhood memories. She dresses up like the baby doll she used to be in a failed attempt to recapture that same feeling of being cherished by all people. What a tragedy being a grown-up like that. Here it becomes clear how having all the attention affected Jane in a bad way, preventing her from growing up. A spoiled adult was a spoiled child once, trust me. Personally, I do think being an adult means we shouldn't have to feel like a child, wear children's clothing, or behave like one of them. And let's face it, today walking on the streets makes me feel like I'm in a kindergarten because I can spot lots of baby Janes wandering about everywhere nowadays. That is scary. Of course, Jane is a huge metaphor for the situation where an adult can't escape childhood due to trauma, a bad upbringing, or just for being spoiled. Jane, as I mentioned before, became an envious person. After all, her sister finally got a place in the sun. So when Jane has to take care of her disabled sister Blanche, she turns on revenge mode at full power. Yeah, she becomes sadistic, torturing Blanche for the pleasure of laughing at her sister's despair. It's tough. It can sound unrealistic, but don't fool yourself because as human beings, all of us can be mean and cruel towards the source of our envy. For me, that's the whole point of this picture, to showcase how envy and revenge can be damaging not only to the target but also to the person who feels and feeds it. Jane is actually making the experience a living hell for both of them. Revenge and hate can be like a drug in the veins, poisoning the entire body, making you degrade yourself. That's why Jane becomes a hag. Therefore the name hagsploitation. She couldn't be depicted in a better way.
After all those years, I'm still in this chair. Doesn't that give you some kind of responsibility? Jane, I'm just trying to explain to you how things really are. You wouldn't be able to do these awful things to me if I weren't still in this chair. But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair. And tell me, what are these awful things I'm supposed to be doing to you? Well, I meant you wouldn't have to work so hard.
Blanche, for her turn, doesn't seem willing to stop her sister. She acts like she was responsible for her erratic behavior. I think many of us can relate to this pattern too. When somebody is speaking at us, we can think, what did I do? Many times the fact of you being you is a huge reason for somebody being envious. Blanche also highlights the pitiful position we get when we can't overcome our victim status. A wheelchair can be seen as a symbol for a person unable to stand up for herself and fight back. Although Baby Jane and Blanche are complex characters that seem to have different facades, they are more relatable to each other than you think, because they are soul sisters, tied with strong knots that make them one single idea. The idea that you as a person can be both Jane or Blanche at once. That's why they are under the same roof. In the end, this movie proposes a deep reflection we can extend to our relationships as a whole and also to a personal level. Can we find a balance in our lives and reconcile these antagonistic forces that drive us mad sometimes? Maybe they could have been friends all those years. Let me know what you think about this film in the comments below. Thank you very much. See you next time.
I've written a letter to Daddy. Say